Hello everyone, Coach Dave here, and what you see here is the console version of ACC. And I wanted to give you my first impressions. I decided not to make a sort of pre-edited video. We're going to take this on live. I have played it already because I received the game last night, and I wanted to see what it was like before I dived into this. And this, in a sense, is going to be a bit of a hot take, because there's going to be elements that I don't quite like, there's going to be elements that I really like, and I'm going to share that with you. I want to be, to the best of my ability, as impartial as possible. As you know, I've got a very good relationship with ACC, so it's going to be difficult to be completely unbiased, but there you go, that's my disclaimer up front. Keep in mind, we're on a console. I'm using the PS4, and it's not the Pro. I'm using the PS4, the regular one. I mean, the technology in the PS4 is like quite a few years old, so they had to take a modern game and sort of downscale it to get it to work on the console, and they didn't want to compromise the physics. So just a quick one, the controls was a little bit difficult to get my head around. I am using a steering wheel. For those of you who want to know, these are my settings. I haven't assigned everything just yet, but I turned up the gain and I turned up the minimum force to 1%. Steering lock is defaulted at 540. I haven't touched that yet, but we'll get into force feedback in a minute because there are some things I want to mention. On the audio side, it's clear that this version of Assetto Corsa Competizione forked at 1.3 from the PC, because the PC is now at 1.4, and there's a couple of things that I can't modify. For example, that damage crashing sound that I hear that I've turned down in the PC version, I can't really do it here. But just so you know, this is always useful. I turn down onboard and exterior engines, I turn up opponent, and oh, hang on, let me just make that 60%. We will get to the game now, I swear, I just wanted to cover this. And here's the tires. Tires always at 100% so you can hear the car. Thanks to Nils for that advice. Damage I've turned way down. Okay, there is a multiplayer version, area, but you have to get your essay rating up, and I haven't had time to do that. So it's got the quick join feature and the competition service. I've never really used the competition service, to be honest. I've always done the private league stuff, which, by the way, there was a tweet or Facebook message earlier yesterday, on Monday. I'm filming this on the 23rd, on launch day, about private servers being available in the future. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, so let's go into single player. There was a bit of a long introduction. Quick criticism before we get started. I feel like the whole menu area could have been a bit sharper. I feel like it's a little bit of a downer. It looks like the port was a bit rushed on the interface side. This interface on the PC is beautiful. It's crisp, it's clean. For example, on the right here, if we go to the car, there's a little bit of oversaturation in the car viewing area, and if I go in, I can barely see the rims on my Ferrari. But what's cool is all the cars are here. You can choose all of them, all right? And obviously I'm going to go for the Ferrari, and we'll go for the Rinaldi Racing colors, and we're going to choose me. So I'm available now in a PlayStation game. That's insane. And obviously you can rotate, you can spin the car around, you can check it out, and it looks pretty beautiful from this area. I like the lighting and everything, very nice. So when I saw this, I was happy, except for like the oversaturation. We're going to jump into a quick race, and let's start at, I think last night I started at Silverstone, so we'll just go there because I know the track combination here, but I did have a rain setting, which we'll cover in a moment. So let's just go back to clear. Again, the interface is a little bit too blurry for my liking, but the rest is good. This is familiar to me and everything. I just want to turn up opponent skill because the other day it was... The key thing that they wanted to achieve here from Kunos and 505 was to bring the physics from the PC world into the console version. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to GT3 cars, there's no better sim on the market. They have focused on this niche, and it's to their benefit. I like the fact that I can't drive a prototype in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I like that it's focused on one genre of car or class of car, which means they can really focus in on the physics required to make it feel as realistic as possible. And when you play it on the PC, in my opinion at least, it feels really, really realistic. Okay. Obviously, it's not the ultimate realistic thing, and I just realized I'm starting on pole, so thanks for that, guys. Let's quickly go into the setup menu. For those of you asking, Coach Dave Academy setups will work on the console, but it requires manual input. So we are developing an interface for that via the website. You can go to the website in about 2 weeks' time, go to your profile, click on any setup, there'll be a console button, you click that, and there'll be a nice interface that takes you through the manual input process required to get you going. So I'm just going to, for now, start on the aggressive setup. The interface looks exactly the same, right? Everything works. I can navigate with the steering wheel, which is nice. We go back, and let's start a race. This is what you guys have been waiting for. So off the bat, I can tell you that the graphics are not as good as the PC. Okay, everyone's been scared about this. They've been scared about the 30 FPS. I noticed it when I first started playing the game, but keep in mind that ACC is famous for being a resource-intense game. And even when I upgraded my PC to like maximum specs, I can still get a certain experience where I have issues with the frame rates. So initially when I turned this on, after having upgraded my PC considerably to get the maximum graphics for the PC version, when I turned this on initially, I was like, oh no, the frame rate is noticeable. But honest to God, and I mean this sincerely, it didn't take long for my brain to adapt to this more consistent and lower FPS. Now the thing with the PC version is it can scale up and scale down all the time. And this means, woo! Don't worry, I can drive in real life, I swear. This means that your brain doesn't get the time to adapt to that FPS setting. Whereas here it's maxed out at 30 FPS, and from my experience so far, it doesn't go up or down. Would I like it to be higher? Absolutely. But it's almost exactly like playing on the low or mid graphic settings on your PC, which I played for a long time when I didn't have the necessary graphics card. That's one of the things that I like, by the way, about playing on consoles, is that I don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get the game to work. This is really important to me. It's why I've always been a fan of console games, racing games. And while you guys give me a hard time about all the others, it's very important to me that when I turn on a game, I can just go ahead and play it. And so far, that's what I've experienced here with ACC. So if you don't have the budget for a PC, I don't know why you wouldn't get this game. Okay, now, onto the physics. Played this for about 2 hours last night, and I'm gonna be honest. These are the best racing physics I've ever experienced in a console game, and I'm not joking. From my opinion, and from my experience so far, it feels exactly like the PC game, which means realistic physics, good force feedback, the braking, traction, handling, everything, to me feels almost, I can't tell the difference between this and the PC version. When I play it, and I forget about the FPS issue, what I see is the PC version just turned to low, but with the handling and everything, the realism, the ABS, the traction control, it's all come through to the console version. And I didn't expect that, I'll be honest. When they said, yes, we're going to try and bring the physics from the console version, I said, I don't know how they're going to get that to work. I mean, when they're going to bring the physics from the PC version. I'll get it right, I'll get the switching right. I wasn't convinced that they'd be able to get it to work. I've read so many times about how consoles just cannot cope with the amount of processing required to get all the specific areas of a car mapped out and then transfer that to realistic physics. It's why Gran Turismo sticks to a certain physics engine which they just developed over many years, and they've left some room for the console to produce good graphics. And if you listen to Kazunori Yamauchi, he always spoke about how brilliant Ridge Racer was, and he was always referring to the graphics. So he's clearly got a sweet spot for that. At Kunos, they care about one thing only. I mean, the guy who founded this game, who created this game, Marco, he was also the creator of Netcar Pro. And if any of you played that game on PC, you could not believe how far ahead of its time it was when it came to physics of a Formula car. That's where his passion lies, in accuracy of physics. You know, he's got an amazing team there, led by Aris. They spend a lot of time speaking to real life engineers from the car manufacturers, I, for example, have personally introduced him to the engineers at Ferrari multiple times to work on certain elements of the car. And Kunos has, in multiple occasions, consulted me about certain elements. When you hear the ABS in this game, I know it's pretty common knowledge these days. When you hear the car braking, it's come from onboards that I provided them and little key inputs that I said, listen to that, that's what we hear when we're braking. And I can't believe that they've managed to bring it over to the console version. So to me, once, for example, private servers come up and we have SimGrid Live and everything, I'm definitely going to have some console events for ACC, because yes, again, graphics, blah blah blah, everyone's going to be on the same graphics. They're going to refine this interface, I'm pretty sure about that. And I genuinely see the potential for a successful game here, just because it handles so well, feels so good. Whoa. Obviously it will be in coming up, I'll probably be releasing some videos about setup and driving tips and everything.
We're at the halfway mark.
But I personally believe that this has been a much better start than originally anticipated. So, as with any game, I mean, if you look at any of the other racing games that have been released on consoles, version 1 is never the final version, if you will. And even when you buy this game, there's a 1 GB update that you're going to have to download. But I genuinely hope that Kunos and 505 are able to dedicate the same time and attention to making this game as good as it is on PC these days. I mean, if you remember the first version of ACC on PC, it was if you compare the two to now, there's been such a big improvement. So I hope that the same love and attention is being dedicated to the console version, because there's a lot of potential here to make it just as good with a little bit of refinements just on the interface and graphics side. Maybe they can optimize this thing even more, and who knows what will happen when the PS5 comes out. I don't know if they're going to make a PS5 version, but one of the requirements from the next-gen console manufacturers is that games that are released in this period have to be compatible with the next-gen consoles. So I fully expect this to work there. Also, they're using Unreal Engine, which is an incredible framework, if maybe a little bit graphics intensive. And yeah, I'm just so impressed with how things handle here. The one thing that I hope is refined a little bit is there's a little bit of latency when the car slides, and you get some force feedback on that. I hope that they fixed that. It's only noticeable really in heavy wet conditions, which I tried the other day, or last night rather. And that's just the one thing on the physics side, which I hope is just a bug. Whoa. This Porsche behind me must be losing his mind. He doesn't know that I'm chatting to my YouTube audience. Anyway, that's all I have to add for now. This is a hot take. This is a quick first impression of the game. So far, I must say, I am quite impressed. Let me just quickly change some views so you can see the car from the outside. Everything works. Everything works like the PC game. I'm so impressed that they managed to get these physics onto a console. Genuinely, there is no other console racing game out there which has physics like this. And to me, if you are a physics purist, you will sacrifice a little bit on the visual side just to get a car that feels as good as it does in this version of the game. So I would say, again, I'm not entirely happy with certain elements. I'm pretty honest and open about that. But we all love Kunos because of their obsession with physics, especially in ACC. I mean, the step from AC was already huge. And I genuinely believe that the launch version of the console has already gotten 99% of the way there. And I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing how they improve things going forward. So, full credit to them. Please leave your questions and comments below so that I can interact with you guys. I try always when I make these videos to answer as many of the comments as possible. And I'm looking forward to hearing what your opinion is of this game. And please try and focus more about the questions related to what's going to be good about this game and why people are going to love it, as opposed to who knows what. Just leave everything. Let's try and help Kunos make this version of the game better and better, because it's going to benefit all of us. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a while since I made one. And until the next time, catch you around the next lap. Peace.